Hi everyone, bit of a different video for you here today. This video is going to be more of a reaction and then me offering some thoughts on some of the news that we received from the official James Bond 007 account on Instagram. So for those that don't know or are not aware, a few hours ago this morning, Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, along with MGM Studios, which is now owned by Amazon, released a statement. And maybe I can read that statement to start off. But it basically says Amazon MGM Studios, Michael Wilson, and Barbara Broccoli today announced that they have formed a new joint venture to house the James Bond intellectual property rights. And those parties will remain co owners of the franchise. Under the terms of this new venture, Amazon MGM Studios will gain creative control of the James Bond franchise following closing of the transaction. It goes into further detail. There's some statements here about statements from Amazon MGM Studios. There's a statement from Wilson, and then there's a statement from Barbara Broccoli as well. But this is big news. It means that after this sale is final, this new joint venture is final, all creative control, not just distribution rights, but all creative control will be with Amazon. It means that Eon Productions, which for those that don't know, Eon Productions is the film production and creative mind behind all the Bond films, from the first one, Dr. No, all the way through until the most recent one, No Time to Die. And that was formed by Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman. Over time, control of Eon Productions was then passed to Albert Broccoli's daughter, Barbara Broccoli, and her half brother, Michael Wilson, who retained control until this day. Over the years, the Broccoli family has safeguarded Bond in many ways, safeguarded the tradition, the values, the cultural icon that he is, and protected him. And while Eon Productions has maintained creative control and film production over the franchise, there's always been a distribution partner. And recently it was MGM, had been that way for a long time. But in 2022, MGM was bought by Amazon. And so there's been this new formation of Amazon MGM Studios, and that's who currently owns the distribution rights to Bond. Since that sale went through in 2022, there's been a lot of tension between Barbara Broccoli, Michael Wilson, and Amazon over the future of the series, how it should be done, and over creative control. That's kind of the background as to what happened over the last few years, how we got to today, and then this statement that was just released this morning. So my thoughts on this are similar to many longtime viewers of the franchise who all grew up with it. Obviously, I'm not happy with this. I think this is truly the death of the franchise as we know it. Every time there's been a large corporation that's bought up something small or unique, they destroy it. Every single time. And it's because these large corporations, they only care about one thing, and that's maximizing profit. They don't care about the quality. They don't care about maintaining the history, the tradition, the values of the character. There are many examples of other franchises that go out of control. One such example that comes to mind is the Fast and Furious. Those first few Fast and Furious movies were fantastic, but the most recent ones were terrible because they just go way too far out of control and they go astray from the spirit of the franchise. I think the big question in many of our minds is what's going to come next. I think that with this new joint venture and with Amazon assuming all creative control, we can essentially kiss the authenticity of Bond goodbye. But what's next? A Bond TV series, low quality films, changing the character beyond recognition. Bond was great because we maintained who he always was, his good qualities and his vices. And yes, there was change over the decades, but it was an evolution of change. It wasn't abandoning all Bond was. It wasn't abandoning the character of Bond, the spirit of Bond, the values, the tradition. Especially with Amazon being an American company and Bond being a British fictional icon. That doesn't work to me. That doesn't work that an American company should have control over a British icon. That doesn't make any sense. I even think we saw this challenge with the most recent James Bond movie. And No Time to Die went astray from all the other Bond films in many ways. Now we have a whole large American corporation with no attachment to the franchise, the character, that didn't grow up with it, that didn't work with it to over the course of many films. Now they're in control, total creative control. I don't say that being a good thing. I personally hated No Time to Die. I was very frustrated when I saw that movie because, again, it went so far away from what Bond actually was. And now we're just taking another step farther away from the character. Corporations are terrible at maintaining culture, tradition, and values. Families are good at that. That's why I always trusted the Broccoli family, why many of us trusted the Broccoli family to take care of Bond, to be that safeguard against the temptation to sell out Bond for profit or for views or whatever. The family safeguarded it because families do a better job at protecting values, culture, and tradition. And so I'm very disappointed that Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson sold us out, as many of us are. I thought they'd fight to the death. I would rather not have another James Bond movie than have the Bond character be involved in low quality movies, a TV series. Just, I would rather have nothing, no more Bond, and we retire it with dignity than have the spirit of Bond and the character dragged through the mud. And it seems like many of you and many people online also agree with me. We're all feeling the same way right now. I was taking a look at some of the comments here on the Instagram post where this was posted, and every single one of them is negative. Every single one. And so I'll read some for you right now. The top liked comment right now at this moment is, Barbara, you promised to absolutely never do this. I can't believe this. Another comment. So basically, we're having 2 Bond movies every year, 4 TV shows, and a fandom event. Another comment. That's a wrap on the franchise. I don't like this news. This is what a hostile takeover is. Bond is truly dead. Be sure to buy hard copy Blu-ray box set before they start editing older films. Guys, it's over. Amazon is going to do to Bond what Disney did to Star Wars. RIP to the Bond franchise. Well, the franchise is dead. February 20th will go down in history as a sad day. There's no positive comments here. I'm reading through all of these. These are all negative. No one is happy over that because we're all thinking the same thing. These corporations will only do what it takes to maximize profit and not protect culture. They won't protect this icon that we love, that we all grew up with. Amazon will destroy Bond. That's not good. It is not good. James Bond ended with Spectre. True. Covey Broccoli is rolling in his grave. True. Bezos is a Bond villain. That's a wrap on this franchise. Last one I'll read. Congratulations on ruining one of Britain's greatest big screen icons. The definition of selling out. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And people can ask, like, why do we care so much? Why do I care so much? James Bond, to me, is more than a movie character. He's a cultural icon, especially for boys and men. A British icon and an icon of the Western world. Each generation has grown up with their own Bond that has added something to the series, that has been one of the defining characters of their generation. I grew up with Pierce Brosnan. He's still my favorite Bond. I remember being a child watching Die Another Day because it was always on TV, growing up and thinking that was so cool. Every boy dreams of driving nice cars, wearing nice suits, chasing bad guys, and seducing beautiful women. I think many of us have a story of how much this franchise and this character is connected to our lives. Even the suit that I'm wearing in this video, I bought in 2017. It's a blue window pane suit, and it's modeled after the one in that intro scene in Spectre. I have another memory back in 2015 when Spectre came out, where I actually went to the movie theaters with a friend, dressed up in suits, for the premiere of Spectre. So it's sad hearing such devastating news, knowing that it won't be the same anymore. I truly hope that there's some way that this can be reversed, that the legacy and spirit of Bond can be preserved. so that we can have many more Bond movies in the future that maintain the values, the tradition, and the character as it always has been. That's what makes the series unique. That's what makes it Bond. In a world where there's so few male role models, real or fictional, he was more than just a movie character. For many boys and men, he was our hero. So I only drink this scotch on special occasions. And given the long history of Macallan with James Bond, I think this seems like a fitting time. Ian Fleming once said, "Those who deserve to die, die the death they deserve." To James.